Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and today's video almost feels like an emergency announcement for me or something like that, because really something very fundamental has changed today. I'm shooting this video on June 2021, and as of today, Google has decided to stop the free unlimited photo storage for all its users. And this means that after years of enticing us with this free unlimited photo storage, we are now heavily invested hundreds of gigabytes, even terabytes of photo storage in Google services. Now they have decided to pull the rug under our feet, and they're basically telling us that our photo storage will now be counted against the storage subscription of our Google accounts. And this means that for me, I have more than 1 terabyte worth of photo storage. I will need to pay for the 2 terabyte subscription that is supposed to cost $100 a year. Now, I am not going to pay $100 a year for something that I can provide for free for myself. I will not even pay if it wasn't $100, even if it was, I don't know, $50, I will still not pay it. I have a Synology box, and if you have a Synology box, you can too replace Google Photos completely with Synology Photos and still have facial recognition and AI with no extra charge. You will be the complete owner of your storage, no third-party servers or services needed. And the most important thing, you will not surprise yourself in suddenly charging yourself money for your photo storage. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have a Synology box that was given to me for free by Synology, but they are not paying for this video, they are not dictating it, and they are not viewing it before you do. So if you want to know how you can rehab yourself from Google services and start using Google Photos, then join me and let's see what it's all about. Alright guys, so we are at the computer, and before we get started and dive into the Synology Photos application, I have to tell you that in the real world we cannot just take our stuff and leave. So I'll tell you where I see the sweet spot where you should decide or should consider taking all your photos and switching them over to a Synology NAS. For me, if you have above 100 gigabytes worth of photo storage, then for me that's the sweet spot, because up until 100 gigabytes, this will cost you about $20 a year. This is something that will probably be easy for most of us to withstand, but above maybe even 100, maybe even 200 gigabytes, the next level will be 2 terabytes, and this will cost you $100 a year. Now, the reason I see that as the sweet spot, not going above the 2 terabytes tier, is because even if you're just interested in the photo syncing mechanism, not anything else, you can go ahead and find on Amazon the DS220J, which is the entry-level model, and two 2 terabytes hard drives, and that will cost you about $250, $270 max, which means the ROI, meaning the point in time where you have returned the investment in saving the money, will be about 2.5 years. Everything more than that means that you have earned or saved more money than it has cost you. So this for me is the sweet spot, but it's not an apples to an apples comparison, because on the other hand, you will never reach the resiliency level Google can offer you. I think that not even an atomic bomb can now bring your photos down or even make them be deleted. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, when you buy in on a Synology NAS or a NAS in general, you're not just buying a photo syncing mechanism. A NAS is also a backup center for all your computers, is also a syncing place to all your cloud providers. You can use Synology drives to collaborate with users on documents and important data. You can have the NAS run as a Plex server, you can run virtual machines on it, you can run Docker images on it. There are a lot of things you can do with the NAS. It's not just a place to sync your photos to, but even if it was just that, even then it would make sense to invest in a NAS and hard drives and have the ROI do its thing. Again, it depends on the amount of data you have on your NAS. 2 terabytes for me is the sweet spot, not going above that. So what is Synology Photos in the first place? It's a relatively new package from Synology that is designed to replace Google Photos, to sync all your photos, and even in the design of the application, they made it very much familiar so that everyone going from Google Photos to Synology Photos will feel right at home. Now, in regards to installing the application, there's nothing to it, just going to the package center, searching for Synology Photos. Here it is. I already have that installed. And from your mobile phone, if you're using Android like me, just going to the Play Store, searching for Synology Photos, installing the app, and nothing to it, nothing very different from any other Synology package in the package center. Having installing Synology Photos, if you have already decided to go this way, this is what Synology Photos will look like. If you click on the Synology Photos icon, it will take you directly to the Synology Photos interface. The interface on the mobile device, we will see it later, not much different than that. But as you can see, it's just a place that I have uploaded a few photos just to show you some of the capabilities. And there are a few ways you can get your photos onto your Synology Photos application. The most basic is just clicking on the plus icon and uploading them from your computer. If you have your photos in some sort of I don't know, an external drive or something like that, just hook it in and upload the photos from it directly to Synology Photos. And as you can see, your photos will automatically be sorted by date. And even some of my photos I uploaded with metadata. For example, you can see that Synology Photos has identified the metadata that this was taken in Rome and this one was taken in Barcelona. All right, so Synology Photos, much like Google Photos, can make use, and it does make use from the photos metadata. And even if you want to filter your pictures in some sort of way, when you click on the filter icon, the Synology Photos application has made the geolocation as a sort of a sorting or a filtering option. So I can see all my pictures from Spain or from Italy. So everything that is in the metadata will populate right here in this menu, and you can filter upon it. And by the way, pro tip, if you click on the gear icon, you will have the chance to add more filtering options that are more, let's say, suited for creative professionals or photographers, like tag, camera, lens. These are all photographic terms and something that I'm less aware of, but you can filter upon them. Now, as you can see, the default sorting Synology Photos gives you is the chronological or date sorting, but I know that a lot of creative professionals and photographers like to work in a folder structure. So you can, of course, change the view to a folder structure view, and Synology Photos will automatically timeline the folder names and give you a more, let's say, order in some places that you maybe didn't even take care of that. Synology Photos will take care of that for you. Now, I will go back to the timeline view, and as you can see, I have a few faces, maybe you know them, a few faces in my photos that I have uploaded, and a few items like motorcycles. So if I switch from the photo view, which is, let's say, a contextless view, I can switch to the albums view. And here you can see that Synology Photos has really done something or identified something, and I can now act upon it. For example, people. you can see that Synology has found similarities in facial recognition, much like Google Photos does. And I can tell that I can answer the question, who is this? I can say that it's Brad. And I can answer that this is Angelina. Sorry. Now, this is what interesting is some sort of a test I've done. Look at all the pictures of Samuel. I'll go back to the photos view, and three photos are just plain old facial photos, and one other photo I deliberately uploaded where the face of the actor is not really just forward looking. And I wanted to see if the Synology Photos application will be able to identify the face even if it's not very clear or frontal. And indeed, it did find all the photos to be from the same person. And I can, of course, answer the question that this is Samuel. And every photo that I upload from now on that matches the criteria, the AI criteria for these faces, will be automatically grouped to this person entity. So, what can I do from this point where I know that my Synology will identify the faces that I upload from my pictures? I can create something that is called a conditional album. Let's create an album, and let's set a condition for this album, and I can name it Brad album, sorry. And now the source folder will be my personal space, and I will refer to a shared space a little bit later. And now I can add a condition. For example, I can say, if the person on the photo is Brad, add it to the Brad album. Click OK. And now I have a whole album that's dedicated to Brad Pitt. And not only that, once I have the album entity already created, I can now share this album with my friends and colleagues by clicking the share icon right here. And this will enable me to, first of all, enable the share link, and Synology will create a link for this album, but I can create several, let's say, access permissions, like, for example, public, where everyone with the link will be able to see, to view the photos, or I can say that it's private and only invitees can access, and of course invitees are users or groups on my Synology NAS. That means I have a way, even if I decide that user 1 will only have view permissions, I can give another user download permissions. That means I can control the level of permissions I give to an album. So what we have created, for example, for families, I know that a lot of people are doing it, creating an album based on the faces of their kid or son or daughter. And then every picture that answers to that condition is added to the album, and the album is shared across family. So that's a great way to do it on Synology Photos. I absolutely love it. I'm not going to save, I'm going to leave. All right, places. Again, Synology Photos can take the metadata and act upon it and group all your pictures from Italy, for example, or all your pictures from Spain. And again, this is something that you can create a conditional album on. As a condition, you will set the location, for example, to Italy or Rome. And then you will have pictures of you will have an album of all your pictures from Italy, and then share it across the family. And everyone can then maybe upload photos to the Italy album. And that's a great way to share photos from trips you have taken with your family or friends. Great features right there. Tags. Tags is something that Synology Photos can take on its own. For example, a celebrity Oscar, something that Synology Photos has taken on its own. So that's a great feature right over there, and it definitely makes switching from Google Photos to Synology Photos a lot easier, because you will be able to keep many of the AI and facial recognition capabilities, maybe not in the high level Google Photos can give you, but at least in some level, that's for sure. So this is in general the Synology Photos user interface. As you can see before, we were on the personal space, but we also have a shared space. A shared space is something that you have to enable, and you enable it right here on the settings menu, right here, settings, go to advanced, and now you can enable. Of course, I already enabled it, but you will have the option to enable shared space and even set access permissions for groups and users on the level of access they will have to that shared space. And a shared space is basically a sort of a space that is shared across users, and is not something, pictures that you put in the shared space will not show up on the personal space. It will only show up on the shared space, and everyone that you have set permissions will be able to collaborate and edit and upload and download pictures from. And that's a great way, for example, for professional teams to keep their personal spaces for their personal photos, and have a shared space to work on a project. For example, photographers and designers. This is exactly how you separate the personal from the, let's say, business or work photos that you need to work on. And also you can enable or disable facial recognition if you don't like it. If you don't want your pictures to be suggested as persons, you will disable facial recognition right here. All right. So as you can see, the Synology Photos as a whole, as an interface, it's not something that is very complex, and I think that everyone that have ever used Google Photos will have a pretty easy task to move over to Synology Photos. The look and feel is very familiar. All right, let's see how the user will experience Synology Photos from the mobile app. Let's go over to my phone. All right, so on my mobile phone, all you have to do in order to install Synology Photos is just go into your Play Store, search for Synology Photos, click install. I already have it installed, so I will click on open, provide your Quick Connect ID. All right, so the first thing that we are presented with is to enable the backup. I will of course backup all my photos and not just the new ones. Backup destination will be populated automatically. This will be taken care of by the Synology application. Backup source by default is the DSIM folder where all the pictures taken on your phone's camera will be saved. And we'll click on enable photo backup to start syncing photos from the phone to the NAS. As we can see, we already see the pictures we already uploaded to the NAS, and every picture we will take from our phone will be automatically synced to the Synology NAS. We can see the albums that we have already configured. We can see sharing. If someone shares an album with me, it will be here. If I'm sharing with others, it's shown here. On more, we can view the settings of the application. Something very basic. I don't even think you need to search around here for much. And you can see the backup, the syncing settings. For example, right now it's on Wi-Fi only. It will skip duplicate files. Again, almost nothing here needs to be tinkered with, and that's how it looks like from the mobile phone. Alright, so this is how you configure the mobile Synology Photos application, and once you configure it and enable the syncing feature to Synology Photos, your photos will start to populate and sync and show up in the personal space. And if you have configured conditional albums. They will start, or at least the people will start filling up the conditional albums. By the way, you can also pick and choose individual photos and create albums just for these photos and share it with someone. Just pick and choose your photos and add to an album, create a new album. So it's very, I think it's very googly in the way it operates, and I think Synology has done it deliberately to make the switch over to Synology Photos, let's say, extra easy. Now, word of caution, something that I've noticed on myself. I've been using Synology Photos on my own phone for a while. In some cases, you take pictures on your phone and the syncing does not start. And when you launch the Synology Photos application, then the syncing mechanism identifies pictures that have not been synced yet and start the syncing process in a matter of seconds. I think that is due to the fact that Synology Photos, as of June 2021, is still in beta. I'm pretty sure that this will be sorted out, but overall the syncing process does work most of the time, and it's really seamless, really easy. And if you're decided that you're going to leave Google, you can do it, and it will be easy, or at least easier than you think. So guys, if you like this video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. If you have already switched to Google Photos, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, I will see you all in the next videos. Bye bye guys.